shoulder, heart full of blues out in the dirt, down in the dirt.
So in a previous video we installed the ARB dual compressor and integrated that with the ARB Drawer system, and if you haven't seen that video I'll put an annotation. You can go click on that and have a look how we integrated that with the Drawer system, and that doesn't foul. It's very protected. It works superbly well within its current location. ARB have kindly sent through the new pressure control system, which integrates with your dual compressor. Now, what does this actually do? It gives you finite control over your tire pressures, and there's multitude of other things that we will go through. But for now, we'll concentrate on the installation, how that integrates into your dual compressor, and we'll go through all the pros and cons of the new system at the end of the video. Let's get into it. Right, straight off the bat, let's check what's in the box. So in the box we've got a pressure regulating high flow valve. We've got the PCM, or the pressure control module. Now I believe this is all Bluetooth, and this integrates with an app on your phone. You get the regulating valve. You get a small little wiring loom which integrates with all the controls and the valves and the dual compressor. A nice little bracket if you need to mount this into your engine bay. And quite a good and clear and concise user manual. This gives you all the ins and outs of how this product is installed, very easily read, and it's quite easy to understand as well, which is quite key to anything as complex as a pressure control system within your vehicle. So one of the main reasons why we chose this specific location for the ARB compressor, it's easily accessible, it's protected, there's loads of airflow all around the compressor, and for most of you guys with newer 4x4s, installing one of these into an engine bay is very tricky, so you've got to be quite clever in where you put these, so hence why we've chosen this particular location. And it's easily accessible. You can get to any of the filters, you can change any of the hosing if you're required to, and you can get to the switch as well, which we're going to need to in this installation. So we're going to try and use some of the factory mounts within the tub to mount the PCM, and that'll all come apparent in a second when we start installing and getting the things put together. Righty, so we originally planned to use that factory mount there. However, the actual hose to the quick release coupler is about 100mm too short when the bracket was in position. So we've moved the bracket now more to the rear of the tub, and again using the factory locations. I'm just trying to eliminate any drilling in the vehicle if I absolutely don't need to, so make it easy for yourselves to minimize drilling. So we can utilize that point there now, and what you'll find on your POV, little manifold, is that you can orientate your connections in various locations. So in my sort of particular installation, I'm going to be putting the pressure sensor here, and basically keeps all the wiring to the sort of the back or the side of the tub, and all the connections there, compressed air connections, all on one side, so it's easily accessible, not only from the outlet and then to the inlet as well. So the inlet will come through the top and the outlet will come out the bottom, so nice and simple there. It just makes everything work in this sort of particular installation. And in terms of the actual PCM, I had a look at the actual PCM and how we can mount that, and again, I'm not going to drill into the body. What I'm going to do, because it's got a exposed circuit board there, which is going to be quite sensitive to any moisture, we can actually just cable tie it to the top of the compressor there. It just keeps it high up and away from any sort of hazards, and I think that's probably the best and cleanest way to install it. We were looking for factory mounts, but the factory mounts were slightly too big for the existing holes, so again, this works and it looks pretty neat. So yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into it.
I've been a real bad boy on the town all night, starting to calm down with the morning light. I'm in the dirt, down in the dirt.
Just to summarize the installation we've done so far, so we've mounted the actual mounting bracket to one of the tie down points in the rear of the tub. We've utilized that bolt there. That keeps everything nice and high and in a location where we can get both the inlet and the outlet hoses connected up successfully, and it's got enough play for the wiring and everything else. So just to check on your wiring, you've got your purple cable which is connected to the deflate solenoid, which is on my right, which is your left, and then the inflate solenoid which is on your right. This is my left. We've utilized a couple of the elbows, which again, that is part of an extra kit that may be required. In my particular installation, we used 2 elbows just to get the orientation correct, and we just moved around some of the plugs just to get the solenoid, and the PRV in the right orientation for this particular installation. We've mounted the PCM, the pressure control module, on top of the compressor, nice and high out of the way, keep it out of especially out of the reach out of moisture. And then we've grounded the actual wiring loom onto one of the body mounts just off to the side. And then the piggyback connector for the switch, that's gone in, and then your actual switch connector has gone on top of the piggyback, and that'll only energize the system once you flick the switch, and then that will bring that system live and ready to connect to your mobile phone, which we'll go into right now. Now we're at this stage. Now head over to your app store or your whatever store you've got. This is both compatible with iOS and Android, so head over to there, type in ARB Compressor Connect. You should find the app pretty easily. It's a very small download, so once you've downloaded that, you can open the app. Now I've already preset the settings in my particular app. So you've got on the home screen, you've got your current pressure, your target pressure which you'd like your tires to get to, you've got your presets, your pressure control, and the voltage. It reads the voltage on the current system that your dual compressor is connected to. Now just head over to your little cog icon. That will dial into your settings that you can change. So you've got 4 different presets. So I've already changed mine to blacktop, gravel, mud and sand. This is obviously dependent on what your current setup is and your preferences on how you like to run your tire pressures. You can also change your max system pressure that your system will be operating at, your units of measure and how you like to read the units of measure from KPA, PSI and bar. And then you've got your power mode, which is off, control and max. Basically off, it turns the PRV off. Control, it gives you control over your presets. And max, it allows you to utilize your dual compressor to its maximum capability. So if you want to run air tools or anything like that, that's the setting you want to use. And then audible alert, that it obviously alerts you when your pressure is got up to the target. And then you can also set this only run the system when your engine is running, like I have right now. It saves you draining the battery. And then you can also recalibrate the sensor at any point if you need to. So what we're going to do now is we're going to connect to the system. We'll turn the compressor on. So now that it's found your PCM, you just connect to the pressure. Now everything sort of highlights now. Now you have full control over your PCM in the system. So this is where you can change all your presets. You can hear the little PRV going right now. There we go. So this is where you can change your KPA to your bar, your PSI. I like to keep it into the PSI, and what we'll do is allow, and you can recalibrate if you need to. So we head over back to the main screen. As you can see there, the current pressure in the system at the moment, you can see the PRV working. Brings it back down to in the region of 35 psi. You can see your current voltage that you're running at and your pressure control there. So if you click on pressure control, this is where it allows you to either use pressure off. Again, it shuts off the PRV. This allows pressure control is used mainly for the app, and pressure max again is for your air tools. So if you cancel that, and again if you want to change your presets, those are your presets that you've already set in your settings that you've got quick access to. So what we're going to do now is we're going to deflate the tires using my Indeflate, and then we're going to re-inflate them using this app and see how we get on.
on the town all night. Starting to calm down with the morning light. I'm in the bed, down in the bed, down in the bed, down in the bed, down in the bed.
Okay, now that we're down to 20 psi, just going to disconnect the Indeflate, connect the compressor up. Once we start energizing the actual pressure regulator here, it should give us the target pressure or the current pressure on the screen there. So what we're going to do is we're going to inflate it back up to 35 psi and see how we get on. Should be able to hear an audible alert soon. Here we go. So we've hit the target pressure. Double check. Yeah, we're good. So one thing I'd like to know is if this is compatible with the Indeflate. Indeflate basically it deflates and inflates both tires at the same time. So let's check if this system works with the Indeflate doing both tires at exactly the same time. So we're currently sitting at just under 30 psi. So we can see if we can try and get that back up to 35 on both tires. So at the moment with the Indeflate system, when you hook up both tires, it regulates the pressure in both tires, kind of offsets the pressure. So if you want to get the pressures correct in both tires, this is the best way to do it. So let's see if we can get both tires up at the same time using the new system. So there you go, it's reading currently 27. Both tires are going up. Just shortly hear the audible alert. And there you have it, both tires up at the same pressure. So we disconnect that. So just looking at the Indeflate there, you're currently sitting at a nice 35 psi, ready for the blacktop. Thumbs up so far. So what are my initial thoughts? So the pressure control kits, really well thought out kit, especially if you want that finite control over your tire pressures. In terms of deflating your tires, probably not so much. I rely mainly on my Indeflate system. It's a very simplistic system. It deflates both tires at the same time. It kind of halves your deflation of your tires, as you can imagine. So however, I cheat the system a little bit. I use the Indeflate to inflate both tires to the pressures we want, like we showed in the video, and that's worked out quite well, which I was quite surprised with and quite pleased with. So the actual app is very simple to understand. You've got loads of settings there, and they've integrated obviously your power setting, where you can monitor the amount of power that your dual compressor is drawing from your system. That's a nice little feature there. And it just gives you that simplicity if you're that kind of guy or that type of person who's really dialing in your pressures on your rig or your overlanding vehicle that you're using, and you can basically refer back to those presets, which is quite a nice little feature, so you don't have to write them down anywhere, or if you forget them, they're all there ready to rock and roll, so which is quite a nice little feature. The overall installation, it was pretty simple, to be honest. Clear and concise instructions with most of the ARB stuff. I haven't had any issues with any of the installation instructions, and they're very, very clear on what they're trying to achieve, which is quite nice. So there's a lot of people out there, especially with complex system with valves and wiring, it seems quite daunting to a lot of people. This makes it very, very easy, which is quite nice. So one thing, obviously, when we went through the installation, I did touch on that you may require some extra fittings with the actual kit, such as the reinforced hose, the remote hose coupler, and there is the 1/8 BSP to JIC4 connections. So just be aware of that. You will need those little extra fittings if you're going to integrate the system into your dual compressor. However, if you've got the manifold that controls the air lockers and airbags, then you're pretty much golden. That will basically integrate straight into that manifold and run straight off that system, which is quite nice. So just plan your installation, and which we did here with the drawers. It's worked out very, very well. We've not drilled anywhere, we've not had to create any new holes, which is something I'm quite against in vehicles, trying to utilize what we have in front of us and make it as easy as possible for you guys out there, and for myself, obviously. So would I recommend this product? Depends on what you're looking for your rig. So yes, I mean, it's a really nice product to really dial into those finite pressures. For ease of use, I rely on my Indeflate from deflating and inflating my tires, but to make sure that you get those pressures to where you need them to be, I think this is where this pressure control kit really comes into play. So it's definitely a thumbs up from me. I really like the kit. It's a really nice thought out. All the products and all the little fittings are premium, as you can expect from ARB. So yeah, big thumbs up for myself, and hope you guys like the video. If you have, please hit that thumbs up. It really helps us grow, and we can bring some more content like this to you on a regular basis. And if you haven't already done so, stick around and subscribe. Hopefully I've earned your subscription. And if you have any comments or suggestions, let us know down below. I would like to hear from you guys. But in the meantime, we will see you in the next one.